Good morning, everybody. My name is Isabella Talamantes, and today I will be talking to you about narrative paradigm from Module 14, Narrative Paradigm. The textbook definition of narrative paradigm is a theoretical framework that views narrative as the basis of all human communication. And the framework includes 5 steps that describes how people should and do communicate with one another. So now I will be applying this theory to my personal life. And so it's important to know that in the narrative paradigm, the 5 steps essentially say that people tell stories when they communicate. And the stories are based on their setting, they're based on their opinions, their values, some logic, and what is happening in the world. I have used the narrative paradigm in my everyday life, but I will now tell you about a certain conversation that I had with somebody who I didn't know very well. So I was introduced to this person maybe a few times before, but we had not shared a real conversation. And so our conversation was very light. And I think this is because we both had to think very carefully about what we were going to say to each other because we didn't know each other. We didn't know what kind of opinions we both had, what our values were. And so we talked about broad topics such as things like the weather or, stuff in pop culture or, broad things that are happening in our life. We didn't stray from those topics because we didn't want to offend each other, and we certainly didn't go into topics such as politics because we, of course, didn't know each other's opinions. We didn't know how we felt about, certain people in politics, and so we didn't go into topics such as those. We stuck with the narrative paradigm because we took in place where we were, which was a setting where a lot of people were around us and we didn't want to offend anybody around us. We took into each other's opinions, which we did not know yet, but we kept that in mind when we were talking, and we took in each other's values, the little values that we knew of each other from meeting for a few times, and some logic, which of course is that we didn't stray off from the broad topics because it was logical to stay on, certain topics because we didn't know each other. And we took what was happening in the world to our conversation. Certain things such as pop culture, like I said, or what was happening in our lives at the time. And so because of we stuck with this narrative paradigm, we created a good conversation. And because of that, we created a good relationship. And since we stuck to those steps in the narrative paradigm, I believe that we will have a successful relationship in the future and that we won't offend each other in the future because we will keep following these steps as our relationship grows, and we will learn more about each other, but we will still stay respectful and we will still have logical conversations that respect each other's values, opinions, the setting, and what's happening in the world. So I hypothesize that the narrative paradigm works really well and that many people should follow it because it just feels natural. And it's something that people might do without even knowing it. I certainly did not know that I was, following the steps of the narrative paradigm until I, read the chapter and completed the discussion post for the Module 14. So the example that I provided was for my personal life, but it could certainly work the same in an academic setting or a workplace setting. You might just talk about different kinds of things. You might have different kinds of values, different kinds of opinions about certain things. And it all just depends on the setting, of course. So it's very important that we see how the narrative paradigm is used in our everyday lives, and we can see how it works better than other paradigms because this specific paradigm allows emotion and opinions and values to be used. Thank you.